I watched every single game from Kiboy, Alek all the way to Light to figure out how the best roamers in the world play their macro. Starting from how to pick heroes correctly, which lane is the most important to help, rotations from early, mid and late game, how to zone enemies correctly, your tasks during war, even how to set up the turtle and the lord. The thing is, all of that depends on the hero you're playing. So let's learn how to draft. Roam heroes are split into 3 types. Which one you pick depends on the situation. If your team doesn't have 2 tank heroes yet, pick a tank roamer, one that can absorb a lot of damage. Because they always go full tank with no damage items at all, like Grok, Atlas, and Hylos. But if your team already has 2 tank heroes, just pick one of these 2. Heal roamers are roamers that can heal or shield allies, like Estes, Angela, and Florin. Meanwhile, damage roamers are roamers that can deal a ton of damage, like Helkert, Saber, and Natalia. But which is better, a heal roamer or damage roamer? You have to look at the meta. For example, since in Season 40, heal roamers are more meta than damage roamers, prioritize heal roamers. Make sure you understand all of this, because the early game rotation depends on your hero. But before that, which roam item should you pick? When playing a heal roamer, always pick favor, and when playing a tank or damage roamer, choose between conceal and encourage, depending on your strategy. For pick-off strategies like dive comps, pick conceal for fast rotations, but for poke or front to back, take encourage. After picking your roam item, you need to understand early game macro. If you play tank roamer, help your mid laner clear the first wave, then look at your hero. If your hero is mobile and strong in the early game, like Hilda, Kaja, and Khalid, go invade the enemy jungler next, then rotate to the gold lane. Deal damage to the gold laner for a bit, before rotating to the mid and XP lane. But if your hero isn't that strong in the early game, like Tigreal, Valerie, and Minotaur, just rotate straight to the XP lane. But no matter which tank roamer you play, your focus is to control the river. Open all the bushes and light up the map. If an enemy passes through, attack and block their rotation. Tank roamers are super different from heal roamers, who shouldn't open the map or push forward too much. Because your early game is fragile, follow this rotation. Help clear the first mid wave, then look at your hero. If your hero has decent damage in the early game, like Angela or Mathilda, rotate to the XP lane so it's easier to win the turtle. But if your roamer has no damage like Rafaela or Estes, just rotate to the gold lane because you won't be useful in the XP lane. You might even end up feeding the enemy XP laner. But especially if you play Diggy, don't help your mid laner at the start of the game. Go straight to the gold lane and stick to the enemy gold laner. That'll make the enemy gold laner broke. Keep doing it until the turtle spawns. Different from tank and heal roamers, damage roamers always open the map to the enemy buff in the early game. If the enemy roamer doesn't help, just 1v1 the enemy jungler to try to steal their buff. But if the enemy roamer helps, just open the map as much as possible before rotating to the gold lane. Because you deal a ton of damage, you can finish off the enemy gold laner right away. Never stay in one lane. Damage roamers always have skills with crazy bursts, like Helkert's second skill and Natalia's passive. So every time you rotate to a lane, always unload your burst skills on the enemy, then escape and move to another lane to do the same thing. All of that helps you before the first turtle spawns, but when the first turtle spawns, your focus has to change. If you play a tank roamer, open all the bushes around the turtle. If the enemy jungler is there, go all in. Use all your skills to zone the enemy jungler. Don't let them through. But if you play a heal roamer, your focus isn't to zone the enemy jungler, but to keep your jungler alive as long as possible. Focus all your heals on them. But if you play a damage roamer, focus on finishing off the enemy jungler. Be careful, don't open the map like a tank roamer. Just be ready to go all in if the enemy jungler shows up. After the first turtle, follow the rotation from earlier. Tank roamers focus on controlling the map and helping the lane closest to the turtle. Heal roamers focus on helping the mid and gold laner, and damage roamers focus on bursting the enemy side laner. 2 minutes later, the second turtle will spawn, so pay close attention. If you play a tank or damage roamer, focus on finishing off the enemy jungler. A common mistake is hesitating because you're waiting for the right moment. That mindset will get your jungler picked off by the enemy first. Don't be stingy with spells either. Use everything you have to finish off the enemy jungler. But if you play a heal roamer, your focus isn't on the jungler anymore, but on your XP laner. Use all your heal and utility on them so they can zone safely. Do the same rotation and turtle strategy until the early game ends. Unfortunately, in the mid game, your team's rotation has changed, so you have to adjust your rotation. If you play a tank roamer, you're super tanky because the enemy doesn't have penetration yet. So don't be afraid to make a mess and open the map. But if you play heal roamer, you have to stick with your mid laner because you and your mid are easy to pick off. By sticking together, you can protect each other. Never go alone because in the mid game, the enemy jungler is at their strongest. Only open the map if you have the right skills, like Matilda's first skill, Diggy's first skill, and Angela's first skill. But if you play a damage roamer, the mid game is when you shine, because the mage and marksman don't have defense items yet, while you already have 2 items, so don't hesitate to fight. The thing is, your task during a fight depends on your hero. If you play tank roamer, your task is to look for mistakes from the enemy damage dealers, like standing in front of the tank, walking into bushes, and not keeping their distance. Just go all in when they're out of position. If you play a heal roamer, always stand near your damage dealer and focus on protecting them. But if you play a damage roamer, your task is to flank the enemy damage dealer. Pick them off so the chance of winning the war is higher. Make sure you understand how to fight because it'll be super useful in the late game, where your rotation will focus around the Lord. If you play a tank roamer, you always have to be in the jungle area close to the Lord. Then look at your marksman. If your marksman is flanking, your task is to follow them and flank. If not, focus on opening the map in the Lord area. Don't worry about the far lane and don't open a fight alone. Make sure your team is ready to follow up before starting a war. The hero you're targeting is the enemy marksman. Don't be stingy with skills and don't wait for the perfect moment. The important thing is you have to go all in on the enemy marksman. But if you play a heal roamer, always stay in the back. Let the tank heroes open the map and the heroes with mobility clear the far lane. Your task is to keep your marksman alive as long as possible. Always stick to them wherever they are. But if you play a damage roamer, you can clear the far lane. In fact, if your hero can push lane like Helkert or Natalia, you can split push to bait the enemy back before rotating straight to the Lord. Be careful, the enemy already has defense items, so you can't burst them like in the early and mid game. This video took a long time to make, but this is just one of many macro tutorials on this channel. So become a channel member to get early access to future videos, and if you love this video, you'll definitely love this video too.